So today I'm joined by Tiree from UpliftQT. Tiree specialises in women's physique transformations and helps women get real, lasting results through strength training, structure and sustainable habits. Now, I had the privilege of starting with Tiree when I was 12 weeks pregnant with my first Isla, and prior to this I'd never lifted a weight in my life. Now, what I love about Tiree's story is that she didn't just start out as the fit girl. She chased the quick fixes, tried all the short-term solutions, like we all have, and learned the hard way that confidence and strength are not built overnight. They're earned. Now, after more than a decade in the fitness industry, Tiree has helped so many women, including myself, rebuild their lifestyles, reshape their bodies, and finally feel strong and confident in and out of the gym. Today she's here to share what she's learned, not just about training, but about mindset, motherhood, and the kind of confidence that comes from doing the actual work. Tiree, I'm so stoked that you are in my living room and we're getting to share our journeys today. So firstly, can you just take us all back to where your fitness journey actually began?
Absolutely. So thank you for having me. I got into health and fitness for literally all of the wrong reasons, as a lot of females will probably experience growing up. We have kind of warped perception of how we should be and the mold that we should fit into. I'm not naturally fit. I've never been good at sports. Health and fitness has been a real struggle for me my whole entire life. And even though I've been in the health and fitness industry now for a decade, it's only in the last, honestly, 2 to 3 years where I feel like I've finally cracked the code and I've found my feet with creating longevity in my journey and being really clear of like the values and the message that I want to share with other women. So I started my health and fitness journey from the age of honestly like 14.
Wow. Yes.
So I have spent a lot of time failing. Every diet under the sun I've done, every fitness fad I've done, group fitness class I've done. I've really failed my way forward in the industry to lead me to where I am today. Yeah. But it definitely stemmed from, I guess, a place of poor body confidence, not even just body confidence itself, but confidence as a woman in general. Lack of control just with growing up and the environment that I was in. And yeah, a real place of lack of self-worth.
Yeah. And I think so many women can relate. I definitely can. So you mentioned there was a time where you were not confident in your body, and people looking at you now will go, what the heck? Talk to me about what a lack of body confidence looked like for you personally. And how old were you? What was going on then?
Oh, I really have to dive deep on this one. To be honest, I think it's not just a lack of body confidence, but it's a lack of... I think the lack of confidence comes more from like internal factors and living a lifestyle that doesn't truly align with the person that you want to be or become. You don't value, or you lose, you're not aware of like the values that you need to have to like truly be the person that you want to be. It means that you're not making choices in everyday life that are making you feel like the best version of yourself. You're not showing up how you want to. And whether it's from a place of like just self-disbelief or like so lack of awareness.
And lack of understanding that you actually do have the ability to make a change.
Yeah.
And then for me, before I came to you, it was lack of knowledge about how to make a change.
Yeah.
So both of those things can be really hard to overcome.
I really think though for a lot of women, it's not just like your internal reality and your internal relationship with yourself is always going to reflect on the outside as well. So often it's easy to shame yourself or hate yourself because of the way that you might look physically, but often it's actually a deeper layer of things going on underneath that we need to address before you can like build that confidence externally, not just across like your body, but also your life.
Yeah, see, that's so important because it was, and you know, being very, very real, when I first came to you, my motivation was to be as fit and strong as I possibly could for giving birth, because I think that is the hardest thing that we put our bodies through as a woman. But as I did open up to you over the time, when I came to you, I still was making myself sick. And a lot of me making myself sick and the eating disorder that I had, it was no longer about a body image thing. That's may have how it started years earlier, but it had morphed into an anxiety, into a control, into a whenever I felt overwhelmed. And so there was no way I was going to be able to get a handle on my physical fitness until I actually worked on that mental fitness as well. And so coming with you and learning how to, you basically taught me, rather than focusing on what your body looks like, focus on what it can do. And I'd never lifted weights before in my life, and I attribute so much of how I've been able to stay disciplined for nearly 4 years now with strength training and seeing the results of becoming strong. But I did need to combine that with the work with a professional to work on the mental stuff as well. And both of those things significantly contributed to how I've been able to move forward. So when you talk about not being confident in your body, is it both you were not confident in your physical appearance as well as your internal, or was it one?
It was definitely both. I've always grown up being, you probably wouldn't believe this, but I've always grown up being extremely shy and introverted. Maybe the introverted part we can still believe. the shy, I was extremely shy. Like when I'm telling you I'm extremely shy, like I would not talk to strangers. Like I would not say hi to a new person. I would not make friends. I would like self-isolate myself. I always felt like really out of place growing up. And like I never really fit in, or like I always felt like a bit of an outsider. Yeah. So it's something that I feel like I've grown up with from honestly the age of, I want to say 3 years old. Wow. I know that sounds really crazy, but I have a really good memory. Yeah. And there's definitely some key things that I went through when I was like literally 3 years old, from as small as like a child not wanting me to help them on the playground. And then things like that just kind of stack up through your younger years, and like that feeling of like people don't need you or people don't want you. And then in regards to like my body image, I don't know where it came from, because I don't think it came from any event in particular. Again, it was something that happened from a really early age, but I have always used food as like a comfort blanket. Yeah. And I don't know why. Like I literally do not know why. My parents are pretty neutral with food. I wasn't I didn't grow up overly restricted with food, but food for me was always like the most wonderful thing that you could possibly have. I would get home from school and I would put my pajamas on immediately, grab all my snacks from the pantry, put them on the couch, sit on the couch, watch TV, and I would do that all through my teens until like my 20s really. And I didn't really realize that for me, like that was an emotional response, I think. Or like trying to get that fulfillment and comfort from food that I wasn't getting from like other people.
So how does someone who has a relationship with food that I think a lot of people do have, and look, let's be real now, like food these days are marketed and made to be addictive, to give us the dopamine, to actually make us feel good very short term at the moment, but we know what the sugar and all of the preservatives and everything does to our body. And we know how that affects us now. But at the time, you just know that it makes you feel good. But how did you go from someone who isn't into sports, who loves her food and her snacks, where was the turning point into going, I'm going to get into fitness, I'm going to change the way that I've been acting when it comes to physical fitness and the way that I'm treating my body?
So I got into health and fitness for all the wrong reasons, as I mentioned. So even though I started my health and fitness journey when I was like 14, I just tried to chase shortcuts, and from probably the age of 14 up until my early 20s, like 23 maybe, 24. And it just took me running in the same circles over and over again. Restriction followed by overeating, followed by over-exercising. Sure, maybe sometimes on a good week or year, I might lose 3 or 4 or maybe even 5 kilos, but it would always rebound twice as hard. I was constantly inflamed. I had crazy issues with my digestion and IBS, self-diagnosed IBS. I blamed literally all of my lack of results on everything else other than myself and my own habits. I hit a point where I was just at rock bottom, not just in terms of physical like fitness, but I had gained, I think, something like 11 kilos at the time. I had no money. I was like really financially in a bad place. I just moved countries. My boyfriend had just left me. It was just a really pivot point. I just hit rock bottom, and when you hit rock bottom, sometimes it's the biggest blessing that you can possibly have because there's nowhere to go but up. And I just made a promise to myself that I'm going to move back to New Zealand because I was living in Australia at the time and I hated it. I said I want to move back to New Zealand and I want to start my life and build a life that I actually
can be proud of.
Yeah, can be proud of. And then it started really small and I just said, you know what, I've done everything under the sun. It doesn't work. So this time I don't care, like, how do I say? I started small with the non-negotiable of I'm going to weight train 3 times a week. I don't care how it looks. I just have to go to the gym 3 times a week, lift weights, and what I do after that is extra.
And be okay with it,
And that's all I did. I was still partying multiple times a week, but I was going to the gym and I was building that habit and that foundation with what was achievable for me, and I felt really good from it. When you feel like you can actually achieve something, then that's when you can start like building on top of it and go, okay, cool. Like now that this is second nature to me, what else can I change? What's that extra 1% that I can do each week or each year that's going to bring me closer?
So you started thinking more long term than short term by the sounds of it, and understanding. And I say this to a lot of people, like if you don't have, there's a big difference between discipline and motivation. We do not feel motivated every day to train. We don't feel motivated every day to work. We don't feel motivated every day to take heaps of effort in our appearance. And what it always comes down to is discipline. And discipline is not something that you just wake up with and have one day. Same as confidence. To get discipline and then to earn confidence, you have to stack the small wins. And so were you making a conscious decision to become more disciplined when you set yourself the goal of going weight training 3 times a week? Or was there another reason why you started this?
So it wasn't necessarily about trying to be disciplined, but it was more based off I had no plan B. So, and I use this all of the time, is like if I don't want to do something or if I'm getting frustrated by an outcome that I've not yet achieved, so often we just go like, oh, screw it, what's the point? Like there's no point in doing this anymore. But I would stop and I would tell myself or ask myself, cool, well, what's your alternative? What's your plan B? Because realistically, the only plan B that there is you either do it or you don't do it. So you can do it and potentially get results, or you could definitely not do it and definitely not get results. And so what are you going to choose? Like, what are you going to choose? And that's what I actually now, that's what I focus on as well, is like if I'm ever having a day where I just don't want to show up for myself or I don't want to do the things that I know that I need to do, I go, cool, well, what's your alternative? And if you're happy with that, if you're happy to go, yeah, cool, I'll settle for less, then that's on you. But you have to be happy with the repercussions of the choices that you are or you're not making.
That's a harsh truth, right? That is a harsh truth for many, because it's easy to make excuses and it comes down to hard now or hard later. And it's as simple as that. And I just love that you are a working mother. You are super blimmin' busy. You have just been through 2 years of competitions and you make the time because that's your priority and you choose you day in, day out, and that's absolutely incredibly admirable. I think as women, we often are trained to put everyone else and everything else before ourselves. And it's therefore a lot easier to make the excuse of, well, I've got to do this, insert whatever housework. I've got to do this, insert job for a friend, insert this, do this work for whatever. It's a lot easier to do those things than it is to show up for ourselves every day. And that's something that as working mums, I know that I really, really struggle with. Now, when you decided to go weight training 3 times a week, what was your experience with weight training prior to this? Had you already started studying and learning, or was this before you started studying and learning about it?
No, so I had been working in the industry for probably 5 years at this point.
Crazy.
So I knew everything by the textbook. My foundation of knowledge was there, but my willingness to actually apply and adhere to it was not there, because the reality is building muscle is an incredibly slow process, and this is where a lot of women stall their journey. Is like, one, we always rely on the scales to measure our form of progress, and when you are especially new to weight training or training like any type of resistance training, your body's ability to simultaneously build muscle and lose body fat is pretty high. So a lot of the time when you're initially getting into strength training or resistance training, like if you're seeking fat loss or you're seeking weight loss, like it's not uncommon to not see that on the scales and to see those little fluctuations. And because I was so driven not by the way that I feel or my performance or the health benefits, I was driven by, superficial things. That's
okay though. It is okay to be driven by what you look like.
And because my journey started getting into the industry for the wrong reasons, because I wanted to look a certain way and fit a certain criteria, I was only motivated by those external...
The quick changes.
Yeah, the quick changes. And so it was easier for me to do things like cardio and body combat and pump class and all the extreme things that seem a lot more appealing, a lot quicker, a lot more on trend, and a lot more, give you a lot more instant gratification. You think, I'm working so hard, I'm burning so many calories, I must be making better results, but you're not. Like the core foundation of a strong, healthy, lean physique that's actually gonna last year round, not only like to fulfill your physical goal, but also in terms of like longevity and your aging. It's a very energy and time expensive process. And a lot of us just don't stick to it long enough. So it was just more a fact of, I knew on paper
what you should be doing,
but I didn't want to face the
Execute on
music.
it.
I wanted that instant gratification, and I wanted to lose 10 kilos in 5 weeks.
Okay, so when we do a lot of the other filming in this course, we are going to go into this in more detail, but I do want to address this right now. Building muscle and strength training, is this for every woman of every age? Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so important, and especially as you get older, like weight training and strength training, again, not just based off physique results, but it is like the most beneficial thing that you can do to create longevity. Like you're basically, the younger you're starting weight training, the more interest is accruing as you age. So you're going to have a healthier, ageful life.
And look, honestly, I'm much closer to 40 now than I am to 30. And, some of the reading that I've been doing is that once you hit that 40 mark for us women, unfortunately, our hormones start to change. Our ability to build and retain muscle, it decreases. And a lot of the effects that we have during menopause, it's really, really hard on our body. So while I might have started strength training to be the fittest, strongest I could be for birthing my children, now my continued focus and motivation is I need to get through the next 30 years of my life, because I want to be running around, I want to be climbing the mountains, I want to be riding the horses and hunting and active. And to do that, I need to keep building and preserving my muscle. So what does happen to our muscle as women once we hit that menopausal mark, and why then should we still be weight training?
Our body how do you explain? It's really hard to put this like into simple terms. But in simple terms, as we get older, as we age, our body breaks down our muscles, and not only our muscle density, but also our bones. So our bones become more fragile. If you fall over, especially when you're older and you're aging, you're more, what's the word?
Prone to injury.
Yeah, prone to injuries. Yeah.
And like you're dead right. With our bones becoming less dense, with losing our muscle, we are just much more prone to injury. And so then keeping the muscle keeps the bones safe, it keeps us agile, it keeps us strong, and it just prevents those injuries.
Yeah.
And we all know that from the age of, well, we might not all know, but I've read a lot about this, from the age of 65, if you have a significant fall and you injure yourself from that fall, it's, the stats about getting back to where you were physically are horrific. It's really, really difficult.
And 65 is not even that old,
It's
really.
It's not at all.
Especially if you're going to live to 90.
Yeah, which it looks like, with the way medicine's going, we all are. So, because I do talk to a lot of older women and they're saying that, no, well, I can't get into lifting weights because I need to focus on like Pilates or body resistance and these sort of things. And I understand that it can be quite intimidating, actually, for anyone at any age. If you've never lifted a weight before, you worry about, are you doing it right? Are you going to be too hard on yourself? So what advice would you give to someone at any age, actually, who's never lifted a weight before? How do they start?
Start small. You don't have to go in and lift a freaking 80 kilo barbell. Start with some 5 kilo weights. And the reality is, resistance training doesn't have to start off just being dumbbells, barbells, free weights, machines. If that intimidates you, you can use things like resistance bands. You can do things at home. You can use body weight. Just start small, but any form of resistance training is superior, is what I would say. And as well, if you're a person who has aches and pains and your knees hurt when you do squats and lunges, you should be doing those exercises. So often I see women who don't want to do certain exercises, or they just avoid exercising altogether because, when I do this, this hurts and this hurts and this hurts. That is your reason why you should be doing it, not why not.
To build the muscle around those surrounding areas so that your muscles are taking the load and not your joints.
And if you have aches and pains, it's a sign of there's weakness in those joints or those muscle groups. So they need to be strengthened because it's only going to get worse by avoiding it, and especially as you age.
Yeah, 100%. And, our hormones as women fluctuate on a 28-day cycle. So there are times when we are feeling strong, and then there are times when we have more aches and pains. And so it's still really important to listen to your body. But if you are looking to go strength training and you do have those aches and pains, getting that professional support before you just jump into it is probably really key. I know whenever I'm on my period, I get lower back pain. And so doing some of the movements that I have no issue with suddenly become an issue, and I just need to reduce the weight a little bit, focus more on my form, and just make sure I'm not putting any of that pressure on my lower back. So there are adjustments that need to be made, but I get how it's overwhelming. I only know this stuff because I trained with you personally. I understand the importance of form and time under tension rather than just lifting the heaviest weight possible. But I think there's a massive lack of education out there about what strength training actually is and what it can do for your body.
Yeah.
And all of these things you definitely taught me really well.
And the thing is, as well, is it's not just black and white. Sure, you can have the textbook answers of what you should and shouldn't do, but everyone's so unique, everyone's so different, our body's anatomy is different, what feels good for one person might not feel good for the next. So it really is so individual from person to person, and it's about what feels best for you. Same goes for form and technique. When you start in the gym, your form, there's so much emphasis on you need to have the perfect form, but the reality is the perfect form takes years to master. And even myself, who's been in the industry for 10 years, there's still certain exercises and lifts that looks a little bit funny on my body, and even though I'm feeling it in the right muscle groups, depending on how long your torso is or your legs are, different movements look different on different people. So also not going in with the idea of like everything needs to be perfect or I'm going to hurt myself, like of course there's always going to be the risk of injury, but it's not about being perfect. And I think now sometimes that people are more aware that form and execution is really important. It's actually more so important that you're doing things safely rather than trying to aim to be perfect.
I still struggle 4 years on with like my Romanian deadlifts with the tension in my forearms.
Yeah.
I still get that. And so as much as I try and ensure I've got the correct form every time, the way my body is built, it's just something that I'm always going to struggle with.
You need some lifting straps.
I've looked into that actually, and I'm like, that would be pretty hardcore. How's becoming a mum changed your perspective on fitness?
Oh, it's changed my perspective on fitness massively. So how I was saying before that I've been in the fitness industry for over a decade. My daughter is 3 and I've only really tapped into like my best self and the best version of myself across my health and my fitness journey that I've strived for that decade since I've become a mum.
Same. Crazy,
And what I actually say is like being busy, because when you're a mum, like you're so busy, there's no time in the day, there's no time for excuses. It's a superpower. Like being a mum is actually the biggest blessing in your health and fitness journey. You don't have time for excuses. You don't have time to convince yourself not to do the things. Like if you really want it, you literally just do it. And there's no way around it.
And then, like I always come back to, we are the best role models for our children. And they don't do what we say, they do what we do. And and initially it was really difficult, and I tried to get in the early morning workouts before they wake up because it was something for me and something that I felt like I could only do by myself. But then I had my second child, my nights were interrupted. It was not sustainable for me to keep getting up at 5 a.m. in the morning. So I was doing workouts while my children are in my gym garage with me. And initially I was like, I'm not doing the perfect workout, I'm not going as hard because you've got to be constantly aware. But I actually love that I'm like, right, I'm going to go do a workout now, guys. And Isla's like, cool. And she's got her wee band and, she wants to do the wee pull-ups with me. And a workout now might take 2 hours when it should only take 45 minutes to an hour. But it's taking 2 hours because I'm bringing my children along the journey with me. And I love that my daughter is talking about being strong and doing these workouts. It's got nothing to do with what it looks like. It's just, and we're doing it together. And I love that I'm building this blueprint for her. And so my motivation to train has changed a lot. It hasn't become about just me. It's become about sharing that with my children as well. And honestly now it's about my top 2 inches. I don't feel like I can mentally perform as well as I can be if I'm not doing, like you initially, 3 times a week. Just something for myself and a clean house. There's something about having a clean house and working out, and I can go, yes, okay, cool, I can handle anything now.
I'll never have a clean house, but
I struggle. My definition of a clean house might have changed, but
and I think that's really amazing what you're saying about, like, it looks different for everyone. Like, and when you have kids, if you're wanting to start your health and fitness journey, it's gonna constantly change. Like, my routine has changed so much in the last 2 years. When I first had my daughter, she was in the gym with me every session, and I was exactly the same. I would do half.
She used to come to our PT sessions.
I used to do half of my session in the morning, half of my session in the afternoon. And when you have like little ones, and it's really unpredictable and they're always changing, you just have to be adaptable. You have to remember, like, 1% effort is 100% better than 0% effort. It's not about being 100% that one time. Like, every little effort, every time you show up and you do that 1% accumulates over 365 days. So even though it seems insignificant, it does like stack up to big results over time, rather than just trying to chase those very few times that you're hitting 100%,
It's insane because, like you, Prior to coming to you when I was pregnant, I mean, I'd done a lot of boxing, I did a lot of high intensity, and some months I would be quite consistent and I would be great with the food to a point and then would absolutely fall off the wagon. And it was so up and down and up and down and up and down. And I, as a mum, after having children, am in the best shape I've ever been in my life, because you taught me so much about the benefits of strength training, how to do it properly, and you helped me so much with the mindset that we've been talking about. It's not all or nothing. It's not about perfection. It's about progress and consistency and small wins stacked over time. I actually don't know how much I weigh. I haven't stepped on scales in like 4 years. And all I know is that I'm a smaller size and I'm much stronger. So strong. Like the other day, Dan, obviously my husband's a builder and so he has a lot of heavy equipment. He was like, oh babe, can you just come out and help me lift, I don't know what the machine's called, this big thing. And so like get down, lift it up on the back of the truck, and he was like, most dudes wouldn't have been able to help me with that. And I love that. I absolutely love that, and that makes me feel
so
really,
cool.
really good. But I do have to go back to, like, I often think about myself prior to all of this. And I think about what I would say to me in my 20s when I was yo-yo training and yo-yo dieting. What would you say to your younger self if you could go back?
It's really hard because I think for a lot of us, we don't want to be accountable. Like there's so much pussyfooting, am I allowed to say that?
100%.
Like there's just so much pussyfooting around everything these days. And nothing changed for me until I actually took ownership of the things that I wasn't willing to do and the behaviours and thoughts and actions that were like setting me back.
Yeah.
And I had to have really hard conversations with myself. Like now I would literally look back and shake myself and go, babe, like shut the front door.
Yeah,
like,
and just get it done.
Just get it done.
Yeah.
Like you are your own worst problem. There's no, oh, but this, or oh, but that, or oh, but you have it so hard. Like, cool, everyone's got it hard. Cool, everyone struggles. Like, just get on with it. You do it or you don't. Like, and that doesn't sound very, nurturing, but
it's still supportive. It might not be nurturing, but it's supportive because it's the harsh truth that we need to hear. And whether you're ready to hear it or not is a different story.
In the past, like, when I stayed stuck in that cycle and I kept falling back into my old patterns and not seeing the progress and not being the person that I wanted to be, it's because I was constantly validating my own excuses. Oh, but you're this because of this. And it's so hard, it's harder for you because of this. And oh, it's your genetics. Oh, it's your hormones. Oh, it's your upbringing.
You're a busy mum, you've got no time.
It's so easy to blame everything but yourself.
Yeah.
And you just need to go, the reality is at the end of the day, every day I have a choice of how I want to show up, and I'm not choosing those actions, I'm not choosing those habits, I'm not choosing those behaviors, and I'm the one that needs to change. Like, you are literally the only person that can change it, and it's sorry, but like, you can have the perfect plan, but if you're not willing to do the work internally and externally, then it's not going to happen.
I could not say that any better myself, and I 1 million % agree with all of that. And I am hoping that women who are doing this whole course will understand that you don't take ownership overnight, you don't earn confidence overnight to make all these changes, but you have to at least make a start. It's one step at a time. You don't just one day wake up and be consistent and show up in every area of your life. It's just making a small start.
Yeah.
And then you start to take real ownership. Then you start to take real accountability. And that's where confidence really comes from, because you earn it by doing the hard thing even when you don't want to.
Yeah.
And that's really, really important. The other thing that I would add to this before we get into the wrap up is I learnt accountability. I learned what lifting does for you. I learned what strength training does. And I did a wee experiment earlier this year where I stopped following Tiree's workouts, because I've been following Tiree's workouts for 4 years now, coming up 4 years. And I just was like, I've been doing this. I know what I should be doing. I'll just chat GPT like a workout for my lower and upper body based on the equipment that I have, and I'll just go it alone. And I found what happened really interesting. There was a new excuse that came into my head, which was these workouts are probably not as effective as the ones that Tiree writes for me. And the second that I started second guessing the effectiveness of what I was doing for myself, I stopped being disciplined. And it went from lifting weights 3 times a week to twice, to once, to sometimes none at all. And I don't know, there are some people that can just do it alone, and I applaud that. But for me personally, I really appreciate investing in getting the right workout plan every 6 weeks from you, because it just totally takes that excuse out of the water. And so I have developed the ownership mindset, but I still like the accountability, and I still like, I need to help me stay disciplined, I need that professional support. Okay, so final question to wrap up. What is the one thing that you really hope women take away from this physical confidence module with you?
I really want women to be able to watch this module and just know that it's not about the extravagant big changes that you can make. Everyone wants to do the big extravagant things at once and be applauded for it, but it's actually the small, everyday, mundane things that are often overlooked, that we don't even acknowledge, like drinking 2 litres of water, doing your steps, parking further away at the supermarket. Like all of these little habits accumulate and lead you to a healthier, longer, more conscious, mindful life. Just start small. Like if you are trying to do everything all at once, you're just going to burn yourself out. Set yourself realistic expectations and build on it, because it takes time. Like your journey with health and fitness, it takes time. It's about, I guess, recreating your trajectory around it. So yeah, just start small. Don't stop chasing the instant gratification, and feel empowered by the small things that we don't often acknowledge.
And take ownership, and then get the satisfaction over the fact that you have.
Yeah.
And then give yourself a pat on the back for that.
Like go to bed at night and think about all the little things that you did that day.
For yourself.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, me too.
Okay guys, so we're going to wrap up this introduction to the physical module. In the next lesson with Tiree, we're going to be looking at how lifting can actually reshape your body.